Death in Tokyo is the third book in Keigo Higashino's Detective Kaga series, and the case in this story begins with a death on Nihonbashi Bridge. So the patrol officer on duty at the time notices this person staggering into the area, and at first he thinks that the guy's just drunk, but when he tries to wake the person up, he discovers that he has a knife sticking out of his chest. So this kicks off an investigation as people try to catch the perpetrator of the stabbing that same night, as the police are basically calling in people from surrounding districts as well to canvass for anyone who's suspicious. Someone who runs away when the police try to question him ends up in a car accident, which leaves him in a coma. And on this person's person, they discover the dead guy's wallet as well as some of his other possessions. But seeing as one person is dead and one person is comatose with it uncertain whether or not he will survive, there aren't a lot of readily available answers. They don't know why these people were in this area at the time, and it's especially strange that the murder victim went as far as he did to get to the bridge, because that was not where he was stabbed. And in fact, for someone with a knife in his chest, he managed to get quite some way, so it makes it seem like his decision to die there on the bridge may have some larger implication, which the detectives start to look into. So this story is written in third person, but it's actually a little bit different from both books 1 and 2. Instead of having vignettes, I guess, on surrounding characters, it does follow a number of the people involved in the case and rotates between the third person sections. So we have Detective Kaga, of course, although his sections in particular don't really offer a great deal of insight into what he's thinking. It just goes with him as he investigates. He is well known for having his own way of looking into cases, which involves walking around and talking to a lot of people and stuff. There is his partner for this case, Matsumiya, who actually also happens to be his cousin. You do get a lot more insight into what he's thinking. You get his observations of Kaga and because they do often go their separate ways to talk to different witnesses or people who might be potentially involved. So that's the second main officer character. Then there is Yuto. So he is the son of the man who was murdered. He's extremely conflicted because his relationship with his father before this has in general not been very good. It's not until his father's death that he begins to realize that maybe he didn't know anything about his dad, and at this point he's kind of missed the opportunity to do so. But with the detective looking into it, he also starts to think a little bit more, I guess, about that relationship and what his father might have been doing. And it follows how this murder is affecting his life, not just the way he's looking at his family, but also the impact it's having on his relationships with his friends, his schoolwork, his potential future. So all of these different considerations. Then finally, there's Kaori. So she is the girlfriend of the main suspect, the person who is in a coma. She is, or both of them actually were orphans, and it's, well, actually a little tragic, I guess, but because they were living together and falling on some pretty hard times because he recently lost his job, and they were a little bit hard pressed for money, but at the same time they were pretty happy up until this point. They were really good at making the best of what they had and kind of really enjoying their time in Tokyo despite not being very well off. And she's really stunned by the turn of events. She does not believe that her boyfriend is the kind of person who would have committed murder, but at the same time she feels there aren't a lot of people who believe her. And then she's also struggling with what she's going to do for her own future, because circumstances have suddenly changed very drastically for her, and she doesn't really have a lot of other close friends or acquaintances in Tokyo. So let's see what I liked about this case. It was really complex, I guess. I appreciated that it wasn't complex because there was anything complicated about the murder. It was complex because it really dug into, I think, the everyday little incidents, stretching back into the past, that came together in all of these characters' lives to cause them to be in the places where they were, that allowed the murder to eventually take place. And I think this story was really good at showing how a lot of these actions, even from years ago, can have a continued impact, I guess, on the choices that people make and what happens to them as they look to the future. But something I did not like. Reading this story left me feeling very somber, it was a very well put together murder mystery. I do love the investigation part, but at the same time, I think there's so many little human tragedies, I guess, in the characters' lives that by the end of it, it just left me feeling a little down, I guess. And even though technically I think it tied together all its loose ends well, and I think it ended as well as it could have for a murder mystery of this kind, it was a little sad. It makes me want to maybe switch to something more lighthearted next.